Those things will get better in a month. First, quantitative tightening will end on December 1st, I think. A lot of people thought that the Fed would end quantitative tightening at its last meeting. No, it didn't. The markets were a little scared by that. And we're hearing from different Fed officials that there is more worry that inflation won't keep going down. We are very sure that this is not true, but we have to prove it. Oh, the signs have been stuck. It's partly because of tariffs, even though businesses have been able to handle at least half of the shock caused by tariffs. We think that quantitative easing will end on December 1st. You may have just heard in that video clip that Cathie Wood is becoming more optimistic about December being the changing point for markets, or at least the real turning point. The rest of that video clip will play later in this video. But first, I'd like to talk about a few things. Let's start with the crypto market. Bitcoin is back above $90,000, which is a good sign, and the market cap for all crypto is still above $3 trillion. However, most old coins are still going down, like XRP is still selling at about $218. The question everyone has is why crypto isn't making a big move everywhere. Indeed, we have already seen stocks really make a big comeback. As an example, the ratio of fear to greed in the stock market was about 12 last week. It did drop to a very low level of about 7 on November 20th. We've come back since then. At about 24 o'clock, we're slowly but surely crawling out of the ditches, out of sheer fear, for the reason that stocks have come back in a big way. In fact, we're mostly back to where we were on November 12th. I did say that we shouldn't get too ahead of ourselves until things start to break down. Decent Wallet is having their biggest sale of the year with up to 40% off. Just a quick note before we go on with the film, now is the best time to buy a good wallet because a single pack is 30% off and a double pack is up to 40% off. This is the best way to keep your crypto safe. You might already have a good wallet, but a friend or family member who is also into crypto might want to store theirs on a cold storage device to make sure it is safe. Why not give it to them for Christmas? There is a link in the text below if you want to get this deal right away. This is the year's biggest sale. It won't happen again for a year. Now is the best time to lock in if you want to. Now that we've said that, let's go back to the movie These Highs. So I'm waiting for the S&P to get back to 6,870. That will be a big event on this chart because it will be a higher high. That should set us on the path to test the all-time high from October 29th again. But all in all, this is a great push for stocks, which makes me very, very happy. The big question is why Bitcoin, XRP, and other altcoins aren't going crazy. What the heck is going on here? Well, cash is the main reason. In the crypto space, liquidity has been tight for a long time. We'll talk more about this in a bit. We are slowly but surely getting over our fear, though, if you look at how things stand right now. I think the amount of fear about crypto is about 20 right now. This is not Bitcoin in particular. It is clear that Bitcoin's fear and greed score will look a little different in a few days. But if you look at the total market value of all cryptocurrencies, you can see that we are slowly but surely rising above $3 trillion, which is great. Now let's look at Bitcoin. The important thing for this weekly candle close is that the price action looks great, right? Our weekly support level is right around 86.6K, which is nice. We should never close below that, okay? If we want this to keep our bottoms, going all the way back to March and April, it does feel like the market is right around this point. So in about a week or two, this chart should start to show a much bigger turnaround. But this week, if we're going to have a Sunday close, I really want us to close above 93, which is about 6K. That would be a very good sign that Bitcoin is going to reclaim an important support level that goes all the way back to 2024. From there, we should be able to see our way to some of the previous highs, like above 100K. It's going to take a while, so please be more patient. Bitcoin still looks pretty good, though. We still need to do some work on old coins like XRP. A lot of these old coin charts are still having a hard time. I'd like to see XRP break above $2.27 over the next 24 hours and mostly over the next week. It looks a little different on the weekly. To give you an idea, I'd say that our main level for the week is well above 2,401. For the next 24 hours, we should really look at the lower time frame structure and see if we can make some positive structure. So far, we've been in bearish structure, which means that both the highs and lows have been lower. Yeah, we want to make sure we break that trend because it's a very bearish one. At the moment, the daily candle closes are more important to me than the weekly candle closes when it comes to XRP. I'm not going to get too happy about XRP's price until we start to get back about $257 and then about $2.69. We have a lot of work to do here. Higher lows and higher highs are what you should pay attention to. XRP stays pretty flat until that happens. As long as we stay above our latest low point of about $183, we become bears. XRP has also been doing pretty well lately. XRP has been one of the best performers this week. The price went up by about 17.1%. It has gone down a bit since then, but we were doing better than almost everything else when it came to the top 10 big cap gainers. Well, if you look at this, XRP has been doing really well. That's because of all the talk about ETFs. But the big reason XRP isn't like getting to new highs or going crazy or anything like that is the first and most important reason why Bitcoin hasn't had a full turnaround yet. Second, there is cash. Money flow is very important in this market. I also saw a great post from DSON over on X. Everyone wants to know why XRP isn't moving. He said, "This is the truth. Through QT, the Fed has been removing money from the market." Yes, they have been. Risky investments like crypto stocks and yes, XRP have a hard time when USD liquidity is low. There is a bunch of XRP in crypto, so 100%. Oh, but here's the catch. Repo markets are showing signs of stress. Yes, they are. Banks are giving in 100%. The Fed is almost done with QT. Yes, they are. They're not going to start QE or anything like that. But the end of QT is a clear sign that the markets should wake up. When liquidity comes back, ETFs grow faster. The people who run the markets get involved, risky assets go through the roof, and coins like XRP finally break out. XRP is not late. It's stuck in an economic liquidity trap. It moves when the Fed flips the switch. And this is another reason why Cathie Wood is becoming very bullish. Let's go to this ETF tracked page. We have Cathie Wood says the current weakness in the market will last longer than liquidity returns. She thinks that the Federal Reserve will end quantitative tightening on December 1st and instead call it a de facto easing. At the December 10th meeting, the Fed will also likely cut rates. We believe that problems with cash flow will be fixed within a month. Look it over. These things will get better in a month. First, quantitative tightening will end on December 1st, I think. A lot of people thought that the Fed would end quantitative tightening at its last meeting. No, it didn't. The markets were a little scared by that. And we're hearing from different Fed officials that there is more worry that inflation won't keep going down. We are very sure that this is not true. But, we have to prove it. Oh, the signs have been stuck. It's partly because of tariffs, even though businesses have been able to handle at least half of the shock caused by tariffs. We think that quantitative tightening will end on December 1st. That is, in fact, an easing. The Fed is also lowering its reserves, which is related to the different steps taken to tighten liquidity. We're now down to 6.6 trillion. I think we were close to 9 trillion at the highest point. The general account of the Treasury is now worth $940 billion. It has been $600 billion for the last 3 years.